In the ancient kingdom of Chu, a tale unfolds of a lake, parched by a relentless drought, leaving its fish in dire straits. They floundered in scant mud puddles, smearing slime and exchanging saliva in a desperate bid for survival. Zhuangzi, witnessing this, pondered a profound thought. Wouldn't it be more liberating if the lake brimmed with water, allowing the fish to swim freely, unshackled from the need for such drastic mutual dependence? This narrative mirrors our journey through the epochs, from a time rich in human solidarity to the present era of pronounced individualism. Like Zhuangzi's fish, our ancestors thrived in tightly knit communities, their lives interwoven, offering safety and ease. In crises, this collective spirit shone even brighter. War stories often paint a romantic picture of unity in adversity, echoing the adage, "Shared sorrow is half sorrow." However, recent decades of stability, economic growth, and technological leaps have nudged humanity towards a more solitary existence. Particularly in affluent Western societies, the tapestry of mutual reliance has thinned, with technology often replacing human interaction. Now, the metaphorical lake is full. We, like the fish, have embraced self-reliance, swimming in our individual streams, often oblivious to the needs of others. This shift, while liberating, has birthed a paradox: the rise of loneliness in individualistic cultures. While we cannot ignore the sting of loneliness, it's also crucial to recognize the hidden joys of not needing others. This video delves into Zhuangzi's allegory, celebrating the bliss of a lake teeming with water. Picture a solitary fish, master of its destiny, exploring the vast lake, seeking sustenance and shelter at will. It encounters other fish, yet remains free to part ways, continuing its singular voyage. Similarly, in our individualistic world, social interactions are choices, not obligations, granting us the freedom to forge or dissolve bonds as we please. In the words of the Stoic philosopher Seneca, true happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. This wisdom resonates with our narrative, urging us to savor the autonomy and peace that come from not needing others, while still cherishing the connections we choose to make. It's a call to embrace the serenity of swimming in our own vast lake, where the joy of self-reliance coexists with the beauty of chosen companionship. In our modern era, the notion of not needing close relationships to sustain life has increasingly led individuals to focus on their personal endeavors. This shift is particularly evident in the lives of men aged 30 to 65, who are learning to embrace the joys of independence. While it's true that human survival still hinges on interdependencies, the necessity for physical presence and personal relationships in our lives has diminished. Social connections, once deemed essential, have now transformed into a matter of choice rather than obligation. Our society, lubricated by the advancements of technology, has streamlined the fulfillment of our needs. The simplicity of obtaining goods and services with just a mouse click, or the convenience of hiring professionals for tasks like relocation, cleaning, or caregiving, exemplifies this transformation. In Europe, the trend of self-scanning checkouts is a testament to our growing self-reliance and preference for minimal human interaction in daily transactions. The advent of AI and robotics further underscores this shift. The companionship once sought exclusively in a spouse is now being replicated to some extent by advanced robots. While this may seem like a leap into a futuristic realm, it highlights the potential for technology to satisfy our needs with minimal human contact. This trend is not just a fleeting phenomenon, but a glimpse into a future where our reliance on each other's company could be significantly reduced should such technological innovations become widespread. In this context, it is fitting to recall the words of the Stoic philosopher Seneca, who said, "All the terms of our human condition are tolerable to those who are free in their mind." This quote resonates deeply with our current discussion, as it emphasizes the power of inner freedom and self-sufficiency. For men navigating this modern landscape, the lesson is clear. Embracing the joys of not needing people does not equate to shunning relationships, but rather finding strength in self-reliance and independence. It's about understanding that while connections with others add value to our lives, our happiness and fulfillment should not be solely dependent on them. This mindset is not only liberating, but also aligns with the contemporary shift towards a more autonomous and technology-driven existence. It's a call to adapt and find balance, ensuring that while we appreciate and engage in relationships, we also cultivate a strong sense of self that thrives independently. In a world where the need for human interaction dwindles, some might envision a bleak dystopian future, overwhelmed by loneliness due to the scarcity of human contact. Yet, there's another side to this scenario that beckons us to ponder. Could there be an underlying benefit in not needing each other? Picture this. We are like fish in a boundless ocean, rich in its mysteries and knowledge. This ocean is our playground, inviting us to embark on adventures, to delve into its depths and uncover its secrets. While companionship on this journey is a choice, it's not a necessity. We possess the capability to navigate these waters solo, making the presence of a fellow traveler a delightful option rather than a requirement. This independence from others gifts us with the liberty to spend our time as we please, exploring any path we desire at any moment. Such freedom, when embraced, can be a source of immense joy, especially for those who find solace in solitude. Consider Albert Einstein, a quintessential example of a lone fish. He thrived in his isolation, yet paradoxically, he was deeply concerned about the welfare of others. Einstein himself expressed this dichotomy, saying, "My passionate sense of social justice and social responsibility has always contrasted oddly with my pronounced lack of need for direct contact with other human beings and human communities. I am truly a lone traveler, and have never belonged to my country, my home, my friends, or even my immediate family, with my whole heart. In the face of all these ties, I have never lost a sense of distance and a need for solitude." Similarly, Carl Jung's experience sheds light on the other side of this coin. Engaged to Emma Rauschenbach in 1902 and later married with children, Jung reflected on his lost solitude, noting, "I am no longer alone with myself, and I can only artificially recall the scary and beautiful feeling of solitude. This is the shadow side of the fortune of love." Thus, Jung recognized the sacrifice of his cherished solitude in the embrace of marital commitment. These stories remind us that while human connections bring joy and fulfillment, there's also a profound beauty in solitude. It's in these moments of being alone that we often find our true selves, explore our deepest thoughts, and embark on personal journeys of discovery. To you, the listener, consider this. Embrace the times when you're alone. See them as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to explore the vast ocean of your inner world. Remember, the journey of life is not just about the destinations we reach with others, but also about the solitary paths we tread and the personal discoveries we make along the way. This balance between solitude and companionship is the essence of a well-lived life. 3. When we embrace the notion that interacting with others is a choice rather than a necessity, we unlock the freedom to seek solitude. This concept, while daunting to some who fear isolation, offers profound benefits to those who find value in it, whether solitude is self-imposed or arises from circumstances. In the realm of human connections, the ability to thrive without the need for others can indeed be a liberating experience. Reflecting on the past, it's evident that there was a stronger sense of community, with more collective activities and deeper involvement in each other's lives. However, such close-knit communities often came with a price: the inevitable entanglement in the drama and turmoil inherent in human interactions. From gossip and bullying to outright conflicts, the drama seems an inescapable byproduct of social gatherings. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." This dependence on others, often seen as a necessary evil, can be circumvented. When we do not rely on others for our emotional or practical needs, we are no longer compelled to tolerate behaviors or relationships that are detrimental to our peace of mind. We are freed from the burden of unwanted associations purely for the sake of fulfilling certain needs. In many Western societies, and indeed globally, the traditional necessity of institutions like marriage for survival has diminished. The waning influence of religious authorities and the increasing feasibility of independent living for both men and women have contributed to this shift. This change has led to both challenges and opportunities. For instance, the rise in divorce rates and the decline in marriage and birth rates as seen in countries like Japan reflect the complex consequences of this newfound independence. With the absence of a pressing need to engage in relationships or marriage, people have become more discerning in their choices. The freedom from needing others allows for a more selective approach to relationships. The joys of single life for some are so enriching that the prospect of commitment is considered only with great caution. In today's world, where individuality and self-reliance are increasingly celebrated, this perspective offers a powerful lens through which to view our interactions and dependencies. It encourages a modern Stoic approach, where the tranquility of the mind and the joy of self-sufficiency are paramount. 4. In the intricate dance of human relationships, we often find ourselves entangled in a web of expectations, desires, and the pursuit of approval. While the warmth of companionship can be deeply fulfilling, it's essential to recognize the potential pitfalls that accompany such bonds. Relationships, whether romantic or platonic, demand our time and energy, and not all are conducive to our well-being. The harsh reality is that some partners may be abusive or controlling, and friends can be emotionally draining or simply not resonate with our true selves. The art of not needing someone is not about fostering isolation, but rather about cultivating a sense of independence and discernment in our connections. It empowers us to gracefully exit relationships that no longer serve us, be they romantic or friendly. This autonomy in choosing our companions leads us to form more genuine and fulfilling connections, based on mutual interests and authentic liking rather than out of sheer necessity. However, this journey of selective companionship is not without its challenges. The pressure to conform within social groups can be stifling, as eloquently captured by Jean-Paul Sartre's often misinterpreted quote, "Hell is other people." Sartre wasn't dismissing the value of human connections, but rather highlighting the loss of freedom under the constant scrutiny of others. This societal gaze can lead us to mold ourselves to fit into predefined boxes, sacrificing our authenticity for acceptance. The desire for approval is deeply ingrained in our nature, as noted by Arthur Schopenhauer. By a peculiar weakness of human nature, people generally think too much about the opinion which others form of them, although the slightest reflection will show that this opinion, whatever it may be, is not in itself essential to happiness. This relentless pursuit of validation often leads us away from our true selves. Imagine a world where our happiness isn't tethered to the approval of others, where we need only the bare minimum of societal validation to thrive. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions. As Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Embracing this Stoic wisdom, we can navigate life with a serene mind, unswayed by the opinions and judgments of others, and shape our lives according to our true desires and values. 5. In our quest for approval and validation, we often find ourselves trapped in a cycle of seeking others' esteem, respect, and admiration. This pursuit, while seemingly rewarding, can often lead us astray from our true selves. As Arthur Schopenhauer, the German philosopher, aptly criticized, we are too engrossed in what others think of us, neglecting the fact that their opinions, in essence, do not define our happiness. He observed, by a peculiar weakness of human nature, people generally think too much about the opinion which others form of them, although the slightest reflection will show that this opinion, whatever it may be, is not in itself essential to happiness. Echoing this sentiment, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This profound statement reminds us of the importance of introspection and self-awareness over external validation. In the modern world where social media and peer pressure constantly bombard us, finding joy in not needing people's approval becomes a liberating experience. It's about embracing the freedom that comes from self-reliance and inner contentment. Imagine the liberation of not being a trained monkey, jumping through hoops for a morsel of validation. Instead, we can focus on our personal growth, values, and principles. This shift in perspective is not about disregarding others, but about finding a balance where our happiness is not solely dependent on external validation. It's about building a life where compliments are appreciated but not essential, where criticism is heard but not debilitating. In this journey, we learn to value our own opinions and develop a sense of self that is not easily swayed by the changing tides of societal approval. This path leads to authenticity, where our actions and choices are aligned with our true selves, not a reflection of what we believe others want to see. As we navigate through the complexities of modern life, the advice is simple yet profound. Find joy in your own company, in your own achievements, and in the peace that comes from within. This is not a journey of isolation, but one of self-discovery and resilience, where the only approval that truly matters is our own. 6. In our journey through life, we often find ourselves at a crossroads where the choice to shape our own destiny lies squarely in our hands. This isn't about being antisocial or lacking compassion. Rather, it's about not letting the opinions of others dictate our authentic selves. Nietzsche, the renowned philosopher, challenges us to break free from societal norms, to rise above the common herd. He speaks of transcending the human condition by becoming the overman, a being who surpasses societal constraints to create their own values and meaning. Imagine a world where you're not bound by society's moral codes, where your potential is limitless. This is the realm of the overmen, who craft their own paths and find their unique purpose. Whether it's pursuing self-actualization or simply savoring the peace of solitude, the choice to not need people empowers us to steer our lives in the direction we desire. It's important to clarify that not needing people doesn't negate the value of human connections. For many, these connections are vital to their well-being. However, the harmful effects of loneliness and social isolation cannot be ignored. The essence of not needing people is not about shunning human interaction altogether. It's about embracing solitude when we choose to, knowing that we can be self-sufficient. This self-reliance allows us to form relationships, befriend others, and even love, but always with the liberty to step back into our tranquil space, away from the chaos of human interactions, whenever we wish. In this narrative, we find a powerful lesson. The joy of not needing people is not about isolation, but about the freedom to choose our associations and the peace that comes with self-reliance. It's a call to embrace solitude not as a burden, but as a liberating choice that enriches our lives. So, dear listeners, as you navigate the complexities of human relationships, remember that the power to choose solitude is a profound strength, a sanctuary where you can rediscover your true self, away from the tumult of the world. 7-8 Ways to Enhance the Feeling of Happiness When Living Alone. On Jihu, a question and answer and knowledge-sharing platform, a topic was opened. How to enjoy happiness when living alone, especially in old age. Users commented enthusiastically, among which the most liked comment was, "Just accepting it is enough." But this accepting mindset doesn't come naturally. Find the root cause first, and then train gradually. Start now so you won't be bewildered in the future. It's truly fortunate when your life is always full of joy and laughter, unaware of the feeling of loneliness. However, in life, not many people experience this. Therefore, learning to accept loneliness and creating joy for oneself is most important. Start changing your mindset with these 8 things from now, so you won't worry in old age. 1. Understand the concept of happy alone, meaning living alone, coming and going alone, and still feeling joy with a soul full of happiness. Picture this. You're living alone. Your days are spent in your own company, yet your heart brims with joy. This is the essence of happy alone. It's about embracing your solitary moments with a soul that radiates contentment. Remember, the way you find joy in solitude might differ vastly from others. What brings happiness to one may not resonate with another. It's a path you carve out for yourself in your own, unique way. 2. Everyone living in this world feels lonely at times. Now, let's face it, loneliness is a universal feeling. But don't let this lead you to cut off from the world. Isolation isn't the answer. Instead, approach life with a gentle, open heart. Be receptive to new connections. You never know. Someone might just walk into your life, resonating with your spirit, becoming a companion in your solitary journey. 3. Bertrand Russell, a profound thinker of the 20th century, once said, "The secret of happiness is trying to extend the range of interests and be as friendly as possible with people, things you care about." This wisdom holds true even in solitude. Expand your horizons, engage with your passions, and maintain a warm, open relationship with the world around you. In the spirit of Stoicism, let's recall the words of Seneca. True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. Embrace your solitary journey with this mindset. Live in the moment, find joy in your present circumstances, and let the future unfold as it will. Remember, happiness in solitude is not just about being alone. It's about being at peace with yourself and the world, finding joy in the little things, and welcoming new connections with an open heart. 9.4. A person can only be themselves when alone. Living alone, often perceived as a daunting prospect, is in fact a journey of self-discovery and liberation, a sentiment echoed by Arthur Schopenhauer. A person can only be themselves when alone. If one cannot enjoy solitude, they often cannot love freedom, because only when alone is one truly free. This profound insight from the German philosopher underscores the intrinsic value of solitude in realizing one's true self and the essence of freedom. 5. Being alone and loneliness are two different things. The distinction between being alone and feeling lonely is crucial. Solitude is not synonymous with loneliness. It is a state of being, a choice that reflects strength and self-sufficiency. Being alone is an acquired skill, a testament to one's capability to find peace and contentment in one's own company. Loneliness, on the other hand, is an emotional response, a transient feeling that does not necessarily correlate with physical solitude. A person can be surrounded by others, yet feel lonely, or be alone, and yet not feel loneliness. This differentiation is vital in understanding the nature of solitude and its impact on our lives. 10.6. Be self-aware and learn to manage and arrange your time. Embracing solitude also involves a journey toward self-awareness and the mindful management of time. It's about engaging in activities that resonate with your core values and bring genuine satisfaction. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This wisdom aligns perfectly with the idea that happiness stems not from external achievements like wealth or fame, but from engaging in meaningful activities that fulfill us internally. When living alone, one has the unique opportunity to delve into passions and pursuits that are truly meaningful, creating a sense of internal fulfillment and joy. 7. There are 3 states of loneliness. The experience of loneliness can be understood in 3 distinct stages. Initially, it may manifest as anxiety and confusion, a period marked by an overwhelming desire to escape the feeling of being alone. This phase is often characterized by a sense of indifference towards life and a lack of direction. The second stage is one of adaptation and acceptance, where one learns to embrace solitude, finding stability and establishing a new order in life. This phase often involves engaging in solitary activities like reading or writing, which serve as tools to dispel feelings of loneliness. The final stage is where loneliness transforms into a poetic realm, a fertile ground for creativity and profound contemplation. In this study, solitude becomes a canvas for introspection, allowing for a deeper understanding of existence, life, and oneself. 11.8. There are some people in the world whose greatest fear is being alone. Leaving them alone for a while is like a kind of torture. There are individuals for whom the mere thought of being alone is akin to torture. They hustle and bustle through life, seeking constant company to escape the clutches of loneliness. From the outside, their lives appear full of zest, but internally, there's an emptiness, a void they tirelessly try to fill by avoiding the one thing they fear most, facing themselves. But here's an enlightening truth we often realize only after weathering many storms in life. Being alone isn't the real fear. The true terror lies in feeling a deep, gnawing loneliness, even when surrounded by a sea of faces. Imagine reaching old age, still haunted by this inner loneliness, especially when life's inevitable cycles of birth, aging, sickness, death become more pronounced. It's a daunting thought, isn't it? Yet observe how some elderly individuals, having embraced their years and experiences, choose to live alone. They find solace in their solitude, living life slowly but with a serene peace. Contrast this with those who, craving constant companionship, cannot bear the thought of solitude, yearning always for the presence of family. So, what can we learn from this? Accepting loneliness and discovering personal joy is a sage path to tread, particularly as we advance in years. It's a call to not let hesitation and fear of solitude squander the precious moments we have. Remember, embracing solitude isn't about isolation, it's about finding peace within ourselves, a peace that radiates outward, enriching our lives and those around us. Let this be a gentle reminder to us all, as we navigate the ebb and flow of life. Let's learn to find happiness in our own company. It's not just about being alone. It's about being at peace with ourselves, finding joy in the quiet moments, and cherishing the journey of life, every step of the way. 12. In the modern context, living alone offers a unique opportunity to reconnect with oneself, to rediscover personal interests, and to cultivate a lifestyle that aligns with one's deepest values and aspirations. It's a chance to build a sanctuary of peace and self-reflection, away from the incessant demands of the external world. For those embarking on this journey, the advice is to embrace the solitude, to see it not as a void to be filled, but as a space for growth and self-realization. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, a renowned Stoic philosopher, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." This timeless wisdom from Stoicism encourages us to find happiness and peace within, a principle that is profoundly relevant for anyone living alone. As we bring our journey through the joys of not needing people to a close here on Stoic in Your Life, it's important to remember that the essence of Stoicism is not just in understanding, but in application. The principles we've delved into today offer a pathway to a life marked by inner peace and self-sufficiency. I invite you to pause and ponder. How will these Stoic insights reshape your daily interactions and perspectives? How can the concept of not relying on external approval transform your approach to personal challenges and aspirations? I'm eager to hear your stories and reflections in the comments section. Remember, this channel isn't just about individual growth. It's a community where we support and inspire each other on our Stoic paths. Every effort you make to integrate these teachings into your life is a stride towards true contentment and emotional resilience. I'm grateful for your presence and participation in this shared journey of wisdom. If you found value in our discussion today, please like, share, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more guidance on embracing Stoicism in our modern world. Together, let's continue to discover the profound joy and strength in living a Stoic life.